I am Sandra with Ever Changing Life. I am an energy movement facilitator, and today we'll be talking about being offended. So I had occasion to be offended the other day, and I started noticing how people are so easily offended these days. And I get it. I mean, I myself had been offended, so it was easy to see how we can take offense. But what are you really taking offense to? Now, really, taking offense means that your expectations have not been met. And when our expectations do not get met, then we have a feeling that comes up with that. And quite often that feeling will be offense. How could they do that? Why isn't that person wearing their mask properly? They've been told how to do it, so why aren't they doing it? How dare they make that choice to not tell me something? And this taking offense is, like I said, really just our perception of the situation. It's when our expectations aren't being met. So what do we do about it? I mean, most of us have taken offense at some point about something. I mean, some people take offense because, oh, we're coming up to the Christmas season. That's a perfect one. Because someone says Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays, because we might offend someone who doesn't believe in Christmas or who doesn't celebrate Christmas. Taking offense is a choice. And I know that might be tough to swallow, but it is. It's a choice. Taking offense is a choice. We can choose to take offense, or we can choose not to. When someone says something to us, like Merry Christmas, and we don't celebrate Christmas, we have a choice as to whether or not we respond with kindness or we respond with hostility. When someone says to us, why did you do that? We have a choice as to how we respond. We can respond with kindness or we can respond with hostility. Now, if you respond with kindness, I want you to consider how that makes you feel. If you respond with hostility, I want you to consider how that makes you feel. How we respond, the choice we have, is more about how we feel than how someone else feels. Most often, we become offended because we are not in control of the situation. And as human beings, we like to be in control. And when we're not in control, this fear wells up in our body, wells up in our mind first, and then it spreads out to our body. And when this fear wells up, it causes us to go into the fight, flight, and freeze mode. And when we go into the fight, flight, and freeze mode, that's when we become offended. That's when our primitive brain takes over and it tries to protect us. And that's one of the ways it protects us. So I want you to consider the next time someone says something that you don't like and you're offended, the next time someone shows up at your house unexpectedly when you've repeatedly told them you do not like unexpected guests, please call first. Or when someone wakes up, shows up, wakes up, oof, must be early in the morning, when someone shows up and wakes up your newborn baby. Remember that it's the feeling that's coming up that's causing you to react the way you're reacting. It's not necessarily your thought. It's the feeling that's associated with the thought. It's causing you to behave that way. So just remember, the next time you're offended, do you want to feel good about it, or do you want to feel bad about it? And do you even actually want to be offended? I sure don't want to be offended. And since I'm making a choice to be offended, whether it's conscious or not, still is a choice. since I'm making the choice, I can choose differently. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the movie Groundhog Day, the 1993 movie with Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell. And he was reliving the same day over and over and over again until he made a choice to do things differently. Then things started to change. The same thing happens with taking offense. If you become offended, first, you can choose how to react. You can choose to react with grace, or you can choose to react poorly, even if you have been offended. Now that you know it's a choice, you get to make it. And if you choose to be offended from here on out, you are making a choice to do that. And if being offended is your thing, then please, by all means, keep doing it. I personally don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of not being in control. I don't like that feeling of being mad. I don't like that feeling of not having the ability to actually have control of my life, not have control of my expectations. So I'm choosing not to be offended from here on out. And you know what? It may pop up every once in a while. It does that. But the great thing about the human mind is, while we may not get to choose what pops up, we do get to choose what we keep. So choose to not be offended. Choose to let the little things go. If someone isn't wearing their mask properly, if it's not covering their nose, recognize that they may be having an issue in the moment. Doesn't mean they're doing it all the time. It means they're doing it in the moment. And really, if they're not wearing their mask properly, you need to make sure that you are. Quit picking apart what everyone else is doing and pay more attention to what you are doing, because sometimes your offense can damage other people as well, especially the way we respond. So please take into consideration that you choose whether or not you are offended, and you choose how you get to respond to it. It's the great thing about our minds. It's the great thing about being human. It's this thought process that we have. So let's use that thought process for making ourselves and others feel better. Now, if you're having trouble stopping something that you don't like, stopping being offended, stopping fear, stopping smoking, stopping overeating, stopping. These are things that can be controlled by your mind. And there is a technique called tapping that can help with that. So please reach out if you need some help stopping what you don't want to do anymore. I am Sandra with Ever Changing Life, clearing energy clutter, mind, body, soul, and home. But you can join me every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can reach me through my website, www.everchanginglife.ca. I do hope you enjoyed today's talk about being offended, and it gets you thinking about whether or not you'd really like to be offended, whether or not that's something you enjoy. If it's not something you enjoy, then stop doing it. Because the greatest loss in life is not necessarily death. While death is a great loss, a greater loss is when life dies inside you while you are still alive. So take chances, tell the truth, learn to say no, laugh until your stomach hurts, dance, even if you're bad at it, pose stupidly for those photos, and most of all, choose how you react in this world. It's how you react that depicts how you feel. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thanks so much for joining me.